And I call the member for McKellar.
Why, thank you, Mr Speaker. The Australian dream is on life support. The promise that every Australian had real opportunity to home ownership formed the foundations of our Commonwealth in 1901. Now, if you are under 40, you are less likely to own a home than at any time since 1947. When updated census data becomes available, this is likely to be since 1901. Let us be clear. This is a fundamental betrayal of one generation to the next. Tax and Revenue Committee of the House of Representatives is in the midst of an inquiry to establish whether this dream should be condemned as an ideal of another century. But I want to raise this today because our children and our families must immediately stand up now. Harrison Jones from Fitzroy North in Victoria, who is transitioning from university to full-time work and starts saving for a home deposit, says, "I am dismayed at the housing market." He simply wants the realistic opportunity to live somewhere he can call home, where he can leave my home half an hour before work and make it on time, preferably on public transport. But the opposition from local and state governments in Victoria to build medium density to infill their suburbs is frustrating and unfair. It's having a profound impact on our middle-aged demographic. David Reeling and his wife Sarah are in their 30s. They live in an apartment in Woy Woy on the central coast of New South Wales. They've diligently saved thousands of dollars every month. However, still can't afford a 2 to 3 bedroom home with a functioning bathroom to start their family. As he says, considering the rising costs of raising children, if we start a family, will we ever be able to afford a home to raise the family in? But it's the fact that we don't offer any hope to those who are willing to sacrifice the most. Sarah Nelson became homeless at the age of 14 following a tumultuous upbringing. She has shown incredible strength and resilience since to build her life, including resitting her HSC and going on to receive reputable roles with full-time salaries. She's now a single mother with children and says the lack of opportunity to own her own home meant she always was carrying the tension of being in a fight or flight mode. Thomas Piketty's data, and it's not often that a member of the Liberal Party will quote a French socialist economist. However, I feel compelled to, because he talks about wealth inequality across Western societies. And he says, without doubt, the major cause of that inequality in our world is determined by home ownership. If you want to reduce inequality, and everyone in this place says they want to, you need to increase the number of people who own their own home. This issue is having a generational impact on the well-being of every single young Australian and not only the future of our economy, but the very future of our nation. We have the highest average weekly earnings in the world. We have the highest minimum wage by almost 50% of anywhere else in the world. And yet, we have the least affordable housing in the world. Across the nation, Sydney has the third most unaffordable houses on the planet. Melbourne is 6th, Adelaide is 13th, Brisbane is 18th, and Perth is 23. And the trend is not our friend. Some will say it's a lack of social and affordable housing, and indeed we need to address this matter. Some will say low interest rates, stamp duty, macro-prudential regulation, government incentives, immigration, capital gains tax, and of course, negative gearing. All hold strong merit, all are worth looking at. Others will say the main cause of high prices is land use restrictions, often called planning or zoning. And we have let the states get away, and councils I might add, with over-regulation, high contribution measures, high taxes for far too long. The New South Wales Productivity Commission says we are short 100,000 houses. What is at stake here, Mr Speaker, is the future of our nation.